Everywhere I looked, there would be amazing beauty for me to photograph. And in those landscapes were lessons that would change my life. The conservationist John Muir once wrote, "When we try and pick out any one thing by itself, we'll find it hitched to everything else in the universe." And the more I photographed, the more nature showed me that connection and beauty graced by light. And yet, in the geographic's view, man was not something separate from this. Just as magical, just as unique as anything else on the planet. And the more I just went out and celebrated the best in humankind, the more I could see it. I could see it. I could see it in the faces of those at work, or the body language of those at play, those in their youth or in their age. Can you believe this guy? I thought this was going to be a good picture before he smiled, right? I could see it. I could see that light that shines not on us, but from within us. From within us when we had the courage to let it out. It was the same light I'd seen in nature that didn't seem to have to trust to expose itself, but just graced us every day with the delicacy of a flower or the light of a breaking storm. And it was my job to celebrate it, the very best that we had to offer. And the more I believed it, the more I would see it. Everywhere I looked, the banquet was laid. And yet, the really interesting thing was that the more I shot from that perspective of the geographic, the more I found this strange tension growing up between the worldview of the geographic and the worldview that I'd been raised in since I was a kid. My intellectual paradigm, if you will, my stone chipper's paradigm. I mean, you all know it, that Newtonian zero-sum game, the allocation of scarce resources, the law of the jungle, eat or be eaten, my win is your loss, second place is the first loser. I saw that on a t-shirt the other day, That is a very depressing way to look at life. Now, maybe it's how we had to look at it when we dragged ourselves to the mouth of our cave and ran into a saber-toothed tiger, but come on. Everybody in this room, everybody is playing life at a lot higher level than that. And yet when we get scared or fearful, that's the paradigm that rises up. But boy, that's not what nature was showing me. Nature was showing me incredible beauty and possibility standing just beyond the rat race saying, hello, hello. All was there if I was open enough to see it. I mean, Mother Nature never stood in front of a forest and said, there is one great photograph hidden here. One photographer will find it, and the rest of you will be hopeless losers, Nature said, how many rolls you got, Dewitt? Bring it on. Bring it on. I'll fill it up. I'll fill it up with possibility and beauty beyond your wildest imaginings, right down to my tiniest seed. And that was just a much more elegant philosophy, a much more compassionate way of looking at the universe, a much more contextual way, one that didn't deny the pain and suffering on this planet, but just put it in a context where we could still celebrate. And at some point, I just decided to embrace it. I just decided that if I had a choice between a world based on scarcity and fear and one based on possibility, then man, I was choosing possibility. And that no matter how dry and desolate, no matter how bleak and devoid of possibilities a situation might seem, that I would just believe that if I could fall in love with it, I could find a perspective, in this case, just by dropping down into that slot canyon and looking back the other way, a perspective that would transform the ordinary into the extraordinary.